Will, how's it going, man?
This is freedom. No government overreach. Nobody approves of it, and we defend it.
Oh, look at this, street signs. You can make it work.
We can make it work, and what I don't know, my neighbor might.
Places like this are like this because man can't dominate it.
Look at this place. So this doesn't bum you out, seeing all this decay and things falling apart?
That's what makes me happy. No one to tell you what you can and cannot do.
We've been starting a ranch from nothing. No house, no corrals, no water.
It is like being on another planet.
The graduating class a couple years ago was 2.
These lots are for sale, and this is an old ghost town.
You're on your own, and you got to figure it out. 'Cause you're not in a bubble. You're actually living out here.
Will, how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
Thanks for meeting up.
Yeah.
We're going on an adventure today.
Hell yeah.
So you living out of this?
Yep, 7 years now.
You got a stove top, you have a rock collection, CD collection,
DVDs.
DVDs, and then co-pilot.
Miss Baby Girl, she's been with me the whole time.
Seatbelt's not happening, right, Will?
Nah, you don't need a seatbelt. There ain't no police and there ain't no dangers, not with me.
How far away is the nearest police officer?
A little over an hour. And he's not coming if it ain't important.
How many years have you been out here?
I've been out here just over 10 years now.
Where are you from originally?
Right outside New York City in New Jersey.
Okay, so you went super urban to as far out as you could get.
Literally the most populated, and I looked for the least populated place I could find. See, I'll be taking this sign down tomorrow probably. We don't approve of those things.
Who put that up?
BLM. Not BLM in the city, BLM.
I know people confuse that. Bureau of Land Management.
Yes. Which I didn't even know there was another one until I was in the cities at one point and I'm talking about it. And they had to explain to me. I was like, that's not what BLM is.
So there's not a strong pro-government vibe you're saying out in these parts?
No, not at all.
So pioneering spirit?
Pioneering, rebel, outlaw, just no government overreach. Nobody approves of it and we defend it. I was fully immersed in the New Jersey life and I own some businesses out there, so I was all over the place. I came out here once before on a road trip and I was like, this is freedom. This is real freedom. There's no one telling you what to do. There's no trespassing. There's no nothing. And it brought me out here. I had to get away from it. And I've never once thought of going back. Not even for a second.
So you don't want to mention the name of the town?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so we'll just call it the town.
Yeah. I mean, everything we see right here, that's the whole entire town right there. You can literally see everything.
And your cat's like a dog. She just sort of hangs.
So she made the van. She got catnapped for 6 months in Colorado. I was freaking out, because she's my world. So the only thing I could think of to do to deal with it was I took a Sawzall to the roof of the van and I figured if I have a distraction, I won't freak out about her being gone. Built it up over 6 months, about 10,000 feet up in the mountains, all by hand, no power tools or anything.
10,000 feet up in the mountains. We're at 6,500 here, roughly?
Closer to 55. 6 months in, I was buying the flooring for the van, and I got a picture of her from someone on the internet. So I say she made the van, because I started it when she left, and I finished it when I got her back.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. These are magazine rack holders right there. And these are my doors. This is my table that I have here for doing whatever, which engineering and designing the framing for all this with this big gap in here was quite interesting. I only have enough electricity to charge batteries, no refrigerator, no bathroom, none of that nonsense. I have another home, but it's like a day house. It's a houseboat on the dirt, not on the water, which I always thought was crazy until I became the proud owner of a houseboat that's not on the water.
Okay, you said we can't go into your property because your landlord says no, but we can stand outside and you can point in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm only in town when I need to make money or helping out my buddy watching the farm and his auto shop, because we have a couple head of cattle, a garden, so I tend the fields in the summer and everything and get all the free beef I could ever ask for. I've been doing construction my whole life. I do everything: mechanicking, plumbing, painting, sheetrock, rock work, carpenter by trade. I was trained as an electrician.
Okay, so you said there are some Airbnbs out here.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's gone, like everyone knows it's a rental, aren't some people in town gonna break into it or any of that sort of thing?
Nah, because everyone's watching. You know, we're in the Wild West, everyone's armed, so you gotta understand if you do something wrong, someone will take care of business if it needs taken care of.
I mean, they're not shooting them, but they're just getting out of town or what?
In the past.
In the past out here, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but they'll escort them out of town, they'll scare them out of town, they'll do whatever needs to be done to get people out.
So the place manages itself?
Basically.
Without police?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Look at this place. Built into the mountain. Wow. Look at this art up here. US West is no longer. Look at this, in the store. What a cool place. So you take the gold back here.
Uh-huh.
So this is very cool. A guy I met up in Provo, I believe it is. This is his business. This currency is being used in 5 different states. And he said even out here, it's being used. Obviously your store, it's beautiful.
Exchange rate is $4.08.
It just goes to the gold price?
When something happens, I will have backup and it will be tender. Will be legal tender.
So I believe there's actual gold in the currency.
Uh-huh.
There's like,
Yes.
the actual gold is in there.
From what I understand,
Yep.
that's how they determine a 1 or a 5 or a 20.
How much gold is in there?
Is in this.
This
when
will-
they tell us we can't use the paper money anymore, all we can use is a card.
I only operate on cash, and I've run into it numerous times where I can't buy stuff.
So you think there's that push to get us all in plastic and
Oh, yeah.
get rid of the paper eventually?
How many times this year and in the last 3 years that they said we're having a coin shortage? We have a coin shortage? No. You're just telling people that so they will not use coins and use their card because you can't get your change back. And cash goes to many other people.
That's
a
how-
card only goes to the bank.
And business, a lot of non-business owners don't understand when you use plastic, you as the owner or the store has to pay 3% or whatever. So the bank, JP Morgan or whoever,
Makes all that money.
is making all that money. And if you get everyone on that,
Yep.
they're bankrolling.
Right. They can control what you spend because they can shut your account off anytime.
They're doing that in Canada.
We saw that in Canada last year.
And they can track you. They know where you're going. You know what you're doing.
You really
what
think
you're
it's
buying.
getting that bad?
Yes,
You think it's going there?
it's going there.
10
Very
years?
fast. I doubt it.
5.
That's one benefit being out here. You're sort of removed from a lot of it.
Oh yeah, we've already seen it. We had a flood 2 years ago, and everybody from the county, everybody from the town helped everybody else. And it will be that way too because we have a lot of people that believe they're patriots. They're patriotic people, and they believe that this country's going downhill fast. And the ones that don't believe that are the ones that are living on welfare and off of the government and need the government to take care of them. And we outweigh them. And what's scary is that we only have a certain amount, like groceries. We get groceries once a week. If something happens and everybody starts coming from the city like they did in COVID, because they all came out here during COVID,
Oh.
then that takes our supplies away because they don't bring stuff with them. They think they can buy it here. And
Okay.
we only have a certain amount because we can only get supplies once a week out here. So that's going to be a crunch, but There's enough of us that band together, and there's enough of us that still know how to kill a chicken and cook it for dinner, butcher a cow. You know, we can
You can make it work.
we can make it work. And what I don't know, my neighbor might.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't remember how to can a tomato, there's 4 other ladies in this town that can. And we can all have gardens, and a lot of people have put seeds back in their storage and stuff. So
It's mostly
we will
LD,
survive.
it's mostly LDS here, right?
I would say half and half.
You're LDS, right? Yeah.
Well, Margaret accepts me, and I'm not.
But he's okay. I mean, I can talk to him and tell him what I think. And
He's proved
we
his
have
worth in
this-
town?
Oh yeah, he has, and we're pretty good friends.
That's cool.
So, but the bigger towns are different because most people in the bigger towns are very standoffish and they're not as trusting as the people in the smaller towns. But we seem to manage pretty good out here.
Thank you. Take care.
See you later.
Margaret's great. She feels like maybe the grandmother of the town or something.
I love her to death. I love her to death, for sure.
What a cool place. Well, I'm starting to feel the vibe of the town. Leave me the F alone. Don't tell me how to live. Which I can respect for sure.
And that's really what it is, because when there are problems, that's what they stem from, is people butting into other people's business. It's like that guy, he's just camping there. He's been there for a week.
And that's fine.
Yep.
Doesn't need a permit or anything.
No. If you overdo something, then you can't do it anymore. So it's a matter of just making sure whatever you do it respectfully. You don't cause a scene, you don't make anything dirty, and then everyone's okay with it. Those are the cows that we raise and eat and everything.
So what's with the houseboats out here?
We recycle them and salvage them. That's my place right there.
That's your place?
Yep.
The houseboat.
I don't know if you can zoom enough. See the slide coming down the side?
Yep.
For quick exits.
You slide out of the house?
Oh yeah. And then like all those columns, that's just roofing that was rotting in the ground, and I was like, oh, what can I do with that? So I made columns out of the roofing, which I'm pretty proud of. And that took forever. It was daunting. I did that last summer, 110 degrees every day. I was like, oh man, columns. I was dreaming about columns, but I had to get it done. I don't know the story behind this shack here, but they're old, 100 years or more.
Sure, it came with the pioneers, huh?
Yeah. Where I moved was, as the crow flies, about 50 miles from here.
Okay.
But
Where was that?
I can't say,
Okay.
but it's part of the National Park Service and everything.
Okay.
And it takes about 3 hours to get there from here. And this was the closest town, so ever since day one, this was like where I'd do my shopping. And then once I finally wanted to live in a town, I decided this is the best place to be.
So you were living way up in the national park.
The most remote ranger station in the lower 48 states. Most people, they can't go 6-7 months never going on pavement or seeing another person.
And you did that?
Yeah, and it was beautiful.
Okay, did you get lonely though?
I had a girlfriend at the time. This is the elementary, and then high school and maybe junior high school. They get shipped out an hour and a half up county to go to school every single day. And the graduating class a couple years ago was 2. From here. Yeah. So
and
you don't have a choice in friends. And I think that's amazing because where I grew up, my graduating class was 2,000. So that's just wild to think of.
You think there's an advantage to growing up out here?
100%. I wish I did.
Why?
I learned a lot in the East, but nothing that helps me. Everything that helps me I've learned since I moved out here. About how to survive, how to be smart, how to be respectful, all the good morals and everything, because you're not in a bubble. You're actually living out here. I grew up about 2 miles from Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is right next to Newark, so lots of crime. My neighborhood was a nice neighborhood, but you're right there, 2 miles from the hood. So the hood came to you. You couldn't you know, you want isolated. So people got murdered, not every day or anything, but it wasn't a weird thing to hear about. I was into drugs, you know, I've been clean and sober since 2008.
Nice.
But I did heroin, I was a heroin dealer and addict. I got pistol whipped, got all my teeth knocked out, I been to jail, but nothing serious. And it's just, you know, in New Jersey at least, that's normal. It's just, doesn't matter where you're from, you have a connection to that stuff, wherever you're from. So this is the main drag back before they built the highway. That's why the church is here, gas station. There used to be a market over there. They've lived here forever. A friend of mine lives next to the gas station. Her whole family's lived here on the other side.
Okay.
That's someone from California building that house.
And so the Californians coming here, they're just done with city urban life or whatever, and they want to get away from it all.
That's what they say. Hey, Sam.
How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Sam's got some work ahead of him with that line.
I want that truck. Good old 8x8.
Does it run?
I doubt it. It's been in this spot ever since I've seen it for my first time years ago. But the gas station's for sale, and I'm assuming this will be for sale.
There's a hot tub in here. So this doesn't bum you out, seeing all this decay and things falling apart? And
That's what makes me happy.
why is that?
It's just, I don't know, it's just history. I think it's beautiful. I prefer an old decayed thing than some modern, square, simple, boring stuff. When I first moved here, this was one of the first places I stopped, and I was talking to the guy here, and he gave me $20 and a stick as a welcome to town. And it was a good looking stick.
A lot of creativity out here.
This is a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh, look at that car, that's cool.
Another Volkswagen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ain't no biggie, brother. I like that. Come in. Thank you. There was this one time we were up by Salt Lake, so there's a hot spring up there, and it's her favorite trail, 2 miles each way. And we're on there one day, and I keep a knife in my bandana when I'm hiking with her, just in case. And a coyote came up, grabbed her by her scruff, and ran up a hill right next to the trail. And as he's running up the trail with her in his mouth, I pulled my knife out, jumped on his back, stabbed him right in the side of his chest here. He yelped, let go of her. She was fine. He ran off, and that was that.
So everyone's just inside right now?
Yeah, I mean, working inside. I mean, these people here own the rental place in town, which they're good people. And the postmaster lives here. And there's no delivery of mail to the houses. You have to go to the post office to get your mail.
This is the local park?
Yeah, so the fireworks are here, which surprisingly, there's a really good fireworks show. Like the 4th of July, it's 4 days of festivities. They have a dance, the rodeo.
You're saying there are people sparsely populated way out in the desert
Yeah,
there?
like you can see one person that's out there.
Yep.
But then like the owner of that store, he's 16 miles out there, just living off grid.
So when an event happens here, brings all these people in?
For the
or
most
when church
part.
happens on Sundays?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But then other than that, everyone's just kind of doing their thing. Just keeping it simple, working, taking care of their farms and their animals and everything.
You're single, right?
Yes,
Okay. So that's got to be tough out here.
it can be, for sure. I mean, mainly it's tourists in the summer, people traveling through and everything, and that's when I get to meet girls out in the wild. You know, like back in the day when you went out into the wild to find a mate, it's kind of how I operate.
But you said there was one attractive girl in town.
Yes, but there's no social place or anything, so you can't like go to a bar or a park or something and expect to have an interaction, you know? It's just in passing and that's it. So you can just throw your number, hope for the best. And in that situation with the cute girl that moved here, never heard anything back.
Okay, what about healthcare? If someone gets hurt, where are they going? Like seriously hurt?
Well, there is a life flight, so a lot of people do the insurance where you can get a helicopter ride. That's the only way, because if you're driving even at top speed and you don't get pulled over, you might be able to get to a small hospital in an hour and a half. So at that point, it's like, if it's not an emergency, you're not going, because it ain't worth it. Otherwise, you're gonna get a helicopter ride. And this is where the people that work for the guy that owns half the town, this is all of his employee housing here. Gas station, 2 restaurants, a campground. He's the bishop. He owns half of the residential units in town. The unelected leader of town.
Is he loved?
By some, not by me. I'll tell you that much.
Does he have oligarch vibes?
100%. Takes advantage of his powers, 100%. And I will proudly say that.
You want that on the video?
Why not?
So you guys have one market?
Yep. It's the most basic essentials there is. In every direction, there's national parks.
Yep.
So that's all the tourism.
So you have new businesses like this, or not businesses, but one.
Yeah. I love old atlases.
Yeah. That's a map you're seeing a lot of these days. Israel, Gaza, West Bank.
Yeah, but it's separated. The lines are different, right?
Right. What year is that? That's pre-68?
The front says 75.
Huh. Well, this is all Swiss cheese these days. West Bank.
I have an old atlas in the van, and it's from the 60s, and it's got a whole part on how we know the Earth is round.
Is this your business?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
Pretty good, actually. It's been quite busy, even with it being a little bit colder.
How long have you been open?
16 weeks.
You ladies living here?
Yes.
Okay. How many years? How many years?
You're coming on one. Yeah.
Less than one. Okay. Is it still honeymoon period, or are you over that?
I don't think there ever was.
There was no honeymoon.
Not for our lifestyle. There's not really been a honeymoon.
Okay, so why'd you move here?
Takeaways. Well, our men, her husband, my boyfriend, they work on a ranch down here.
Okay.
So all last year we hotel hopped in this town because there was no house, and then now they have a house, and so we live here. And our house is getting finished. Anywho, I've only been here a couple months. She's been here almost a year, and we've been starting a ranch from nothing. So no house, no corrals, no water.
Wow.
Nothing.
How's that been?
Rough, to say the least.
I love that. My brother, I brought him out here once years ago, and he had the time of his life, but he couldn't admit it when he got home because he has some sort of stigma that only crazy people or dirty hippies would want to live out in the middle of nowhere like this. Like, those are the only possible reasons. And I've heard from a lot of people, you know, their siblings and families, they don't have any interest in coming out and visiting. And I honestly think there's a certain fear to it, you know, because it's intimidating if you're a city person.
Just the openness and the barrenness of it?
Yeah, and knowing that you're on your own. Like, I have a friend in the military, and he's in the military, but he comes down here and he's freaking out the whole time. Paranoid, looking over his shoulder, won't go anywhere without his gun.
Come on.
I'm serious. Because it's so dangerous, because anyone could do anything and there's no one to come and help. That's some people's mentality. Whereas all those same reasons is my mentality for why out here is so safe and awesome, because you're on your own and you don't have to worry about anything. And nobody's gonna come out to somewhere like this to cause a problem. Like, why would you do that? You know, I'm gonna drive 5 hours to pick on someone? No.
Don't you get, maybe bored isn't the right word, but lack of stimulation? There's just like, I get it, nature forever, but you sort of know everyone. You're gonna know you can't go out if you meet a girl. You can't go out anywhere with her. Do you feel like you're missing anything?
No, because even when I lived in New Jersey, when I took a girl out, we'd go out into the woods. We'd go out into explore abandoned buildings in the city. Like, if I'm trying to show a girl a good time out here, you know, I'll cook nice meal under the stars, have a big fire. I think that's real romance. Going to a restaurant in the city, that's not romance to me.
Oh, look at this, street signs.
Jackrabbit.
Oh, look at that guy go. He's so fast. Okay, so this guy we're talking about, another guy you know, what do you mean, well watcher?
A well watcher. So it's just a water well in the ground. There's actually official paperwork, the Blue Valley Water Company, and I was the official well watcher. And I just made sure no one did anything funny to the well. But it was on the side of the highway, so at nighttime, I would put on all different colored lights and stuff.
Yeah.
So that I was a UFO to people, because there's a lot of UFO stuff around here.
Okay.
So I'd do that, and I'd see all the cars stop on the highway and go looking all around and stuff.
What's your take on UFOs?
I've seen some weird shit out here.
Like what?
So the weirdest thing, I was on a property down the highway here, and it was like 2 in the morning, and there was this weird red light in the distance.
Right.
And I got weird vibes. Something felt off. And then all of a sudden the light zoomed all the way across this field, maybe a quarter mile, right up to me, blinded me, you know, for a split second. And my girlfriend at the time too, same thing. And we both got concerned, so we just wandered off a bit. We were trying to get our heads wrapped around it. And then in the bushes, there was deer, and they were like mutant deer, because they had antlers coming out the center of their friggin' head. And I don't know what it was, but I've never seen deer like that. The thing with the light was weird. And we lived there, and we never saw the deer again after that.
You weren't on anything?
No, nothing. Completely sober.
So, is that consensus out here? Do most people say they have these UFO experiences, or
The guy at
you talk to?
The guy at the market, he has a lot of UFO and alien stories, a lot of them. And then the property that happened out, there's a long history of them talking about UFO stuff too. I don't think it's a insane topic to talk about. I think a lot of people are pretty much like, you know, if you can't explain it, it's a UFO.
Cemetery. The first inhabitants. Do you recognize a lot of these names still sticking around?
Avery, Robinson. The critter garden in town, that's this family. Hunts. This guy right here, look at this. Where was it? 15 years old. 1.
So, Will, these lots are for sale.
Yup.
And this is an old ghost town.
Trying to bring it back. And from the cemetery, it looks like the turn of the last century is when everyone left here. And I can respect this work because I used to work for the Park Service making circle rocks square to build things. And it takes a lot of work to make these things.
It looks in great shape.
That's what's glorious about the desert, because, I mean, a piece of wood that's been sitting here for 100 years will basically look the same way it looked 100 years ago. Desert preserves. And they'd left because it kept on flooding, and they kept on getting wiped out and people dying, and they just gave up.
Yeah, this is a floodplain, huh? Mm-hmm. And the people buying these plots and not worried?
You don't worry until you have a reason to worry. I mean, I know it's hard, you know, when it was flooding, and my buddy here, he was scrambling, you know, stacking hay all around everything, trying to stop his home from being washed away. I like that you have to worry about flooding and wind blowing instead of traffic going to the store or something like that. It's the real stuff, important things. I think that's a big reason for why living out here is so special to me, because you just worry about what's important. None of the None of the nonsense.
Just the cycles of nature and your position in that.
Yeah,
Water's
because
coming, move.
yup. And the thing is like places like this are like this because man can't dominate it. You know, we're in the year 2023 and there's no high rises here for a reason. And that's the other thing, the desert makes your imagination go. That's a big part of why I'm here. Because you're redneck, you're Mormon, you're hippie, they all have imagination. You're not turning at the street, you're turning at the rock that looks like a hamburger.
You said you're redneck hippie. You're half between both.
I love nature, I love music, I love, you know, free spirit stuff and everything. That's, you know, a big part of me. But at the same time, I love working with cattle. I love the redneck mentality of, you know, defending your land, your place, your honor, your respect, you know, like something that to me is very redneck, you know, having that confidence, you know, and not letting people walk over you or anything. And I find, I don't know, I think the redneck part is the respect, because rednecks, they have respect. And
There's like a
respect
code of honor, right?
yeah, and it's a universal language. If you go to a foreign country and you respect the people, that's all you need. I feel like, at least.
I think the people out in these places, it's very simple in the sense, not to say they're simple, because you get all types, but in the sense that you come as an out-of-towner, everyone knows it, because you're a new face, new car. As long as you're cool to them, it's like you get it back in volumes.
It's that respect.
If you come in looking down, trying to teach whatever, it's such a losing game. Like,
Well, the one guy in town that they gave him a ride out of town, the last straw with him, he said to someone about an issue that he had with someone in town. He was talking to another person, and he said, small town, small mind. And that was, you're out.
and what does that mean, you're out?
One way, or, you know, you're going to be made to feel unwelcome or literally escorted out of town. You know, you're just not welcome because he insulted the whole town by making that phrase right there. But there are people out here that, you know, you hear the rumors, you know, some people were here, they were up to no good, and nobody knows where they are.
So people just come down here and rip this stuff.
And they'll do crazy shit. They'll go flying, you know, 50 feet, 100 feet through the air and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like, you know, world famous riders and stuff. It's a big playground for everyone.
And this is just free reign out here, right?
Free reign.
Anyone can come out and...
Yup, no one to tell you what you can and cannot do. And I wanted to slide down these hills on the outskirts.
Oh, look at that guy.
You guys rolled up, I was like, what the
When you saw the
He
van?
jumped out, and I'm like, that dude? No way.
Spencer, what's the story out here?
It's like a dirt bike kind of mecca. It's a open OHV riding area. Most places where you dirt bike, they want you to stay on designated routes and designated trails. Places like this that have a boundary set up, if you're inside the boundary zone, you're free to ride however you want,
Wow,
whichever direction, and there's not lots of places like this. The motorized community gets a lot of heat from non-motorized people. You know, we're loud, we make dust, we kind of leave a mark, and everyone else is a leave no trace type attitude. And so when you come to places like this, you don't really bump into people that don't want you there. Lots of trails and other places you ride, you come across foot traffic, equestrians, bicyclers, and it's like we're the outcasts of the outdoor community.
okay.
A lot of us are really pretty mindful people of the environment. We do our part, we recycle, we do, you know, we're not complete just idiots trashing the place, but our form of fun leaves a mark. It just does, unfortunately.
Look at Will's form of fun. He's got cardboard. I guess we're gonna do a sledding. Position down. Ooh, cardboard falling apart. A lot of resistance, friction. Play. Ooh, it'll fall in a roll. In a roll. Woo! I think it's a purposeful roll with cigarette in the mouth.
Taylor was flying his paraglider, right?
Oh, nice. Oh, wow, with the dirt bikes there. That is so cool.
Oh, that's right here.
You guys need to hang out and see.
Are these guys gonna launch this thing?
Yeah, Wing Tie and Jordy, they're just taking a little break. Come into camp.
All right, so you take it seriously. You bring the wood down. Oh,
Hey.
nice.
This is Will and Peter.
How you guys doing?
These two are badass riders. And Taylor with the freaking wing.
Are you going back out right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I'm gonna drop him off and he's gonna stand and get a couple shots. Is that cool? Okay, watch your leg.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so unbelievable. Wow. That is badass.
Right?
That is badass. Yeah, guys, I don't think the camera is fully grasping the sheer scale of this place. It is like being on another planet. Oh, yeah. What do you think that's like? 200 feet of air?
It's probably 150.
150?
It's a wave,
Oh my God. That was epic.
Oh, nice, Will.
Will's energy drink Will.
Utah's so diverse from north to south. Northern Utah with the Wasatch is mountains, thick forest, high mountain lakes, right? Rivers. And this here, this blue dirt, gray dirt, I believe it was a really deep ancient sea that no plant life or anything ever grew or took hold here. So this soil, they say, is inert. You can't grow anything in this.
And then something interesting about the soil at your spas in the cities and stuff.
Yep.
Right here, this is about $50.
Really?
Yeah, this is what they do facial rubs with and stuff.
They just cake it on themselves?
Yep. People from Alaska that live up in the bush and everything, when they come down to the lower 48 to just get a break, they come to these parts. And I ask them why, and they're like, it's the closest thing to home. Doesn't look like it, but the freedom, once again. And same for Australians. I was shocked to see that Australians think Utah is far cooler than Australia. And I grew up thinking Australia was the cool place.
So you're not worried about people discovering stuff here because you're like, a lot of this stuff is just accessible right off the road, but all your spots are super far away, or what?
Yeah, I mean, during the virus, it was like a zoo. There's
Really?
thousands of people all over.
Just RVs?
Just covered in RVs and everything. So, of course, not everybody knows about these spots, but they're not hard to find. And the damage that has been done is as much damage that can be done. So it's kind of, it is what it is. To me, these spots are like the city. The spots that I enjoy are still 2, 3, 4 hours deeper into the desert from here. And those are the areas that are pristine, untouched, and you don't talk about them. You don't share them with no one. You find it if you find it. I just hope, you know, anybody that comes out here, it's just a matter of respect it. The feelings you get and the enjoyment of out here is because it's respected. There's no trash on the side of the roads. People are friendly. So if you come out here, do the same thing. Be friendly. Don't leave trash. Don't leave cardboard on hillsides anywhere. You know, just take care of it and make sure that your kids can come and see it.
This is absolutely stunning. What a beautiful place.
And it's just the tip of the iceberg.
If you were to sum it up in a few words, what has living out here taught you?
As much as I might hate to say it, confidence.
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 Why do you hate to say that?
Because I'm from New Jersey. I was confident the day I came out of my mom.
Okay.
But coming out here, all the trials and tribulations, getting stuck places, getting lost, running out of supplies. I've been in so many situations and I'm still here. The first time I was stuck somewhere, no cell phone service, no radio service, no satellite phone service even.
Okay.
And I forgot my map. And it was in a place that you need a map. And I wandered for probably 30 miles before I found my way out. And I didn't think I was gonna die, but I was unhappy that I didn't have anything I needed.
Right, and we never really go without that in the modern world for the most part, right?
Right, yeah.
You're never really challenged like that, and then when you overcome that challenge, it builds confidence, right?
Yes. And another thing is being prepared.
Okay.
Carrying everything you could possibly need for any situation. Because you're on your own, and you gotta figure it out.
Oh, this is so cool. And it's all free, you know? You try to pay for these places and these stimulation enhancing worlds. It's freaking hard to beat this.
And something else I always think about, people pay. Like right now, this isn't a place that you can just call home because we're in a park. But everywhere else, people will pay millions of dollars for this view in their backyard.
Yeah.
Why are people paying $10 million for this when they could just park here and call it home? So out here, I like to do guides for people and show people around the desert.
Cool.
And show them how to responsibly enjoy the desert,
Cool.
you know, respecting it. What I do, it's not your typical take you out
I don't think so.
for an easy thing, you know. You gotta be prepared and it'll be a safari, basically.
And you'll get them way out.
Get them way out to places that you're not gonna hear about anywhere else.
Okay, so you don't have social media. How do people find you?
So I can be found at desertspecialistutah
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put the link down below, guys. If you're coming to this part of Utah, definitely meet up with Will. It's been awesome today, man.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it. Really interesting lifestyle you're living. And the feeling I get just by being here a couple days, a few people I've talked to, freedom.
Freedom.
That's the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a special thing.
Very special. And we're in America, so you might as well know freedom.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for coming along on that one. Until the next one.
Peace.